Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Asmongold is currently molding over low Assassin's Creed Shadow scores. He believes that it's unfair to give the game anything below a 6. He rated the game a 6 or a 7 out of 10, which I think is absolutely bonkers. It's batshit crazy. And usually I would go hard on him, but you have to keep in mind with Asmon, this is a guy that has been in a long-term abusive relationship with Blizzard. This is a man that almost exclusively played World of Warcraft for 20 years. He doesn't know what a good game is. This is a guy that hasn't played Oblivion or Skyrim. And so I don't think he should be lambasted for that. I think he should be encouraged to go play those games. Because this is a man that gave a vow to 7. Like, I don't think that I could say anything about him that is more disqualifying to having an opinion about games than that. He gave a 7 to Avowed. Avowed. When I heard him say that, I couldn't believe it. A 7. Asmon, what are you doing? And you give this a 6 or a 7? Asmon, I say this with all compassion. You need help. You're rating these terrible games at these inflated scores, and it's sad. I would say that this game is, being charitable, a 3 out of 10. The monetization is egregious. The graphics are nothing to write home about. The level and progression system is atrocious when it comes to enemies. I think that pretty much everyone acknowledges that. The story is embarrassing. The marketing for this game was so atrocious that Japan, before the game launched, came out to condemn it. There is no universe where this game is a 6. There's no universe where this game is a 5. A 5 is average. Keep in mind what average means. An average game is, I played it, I was satisfied, I felt like I got my money's worth. Oh, I bought Assassin's Creed Shadows and I got my money's worth, said nobody ever. This is a game that is a symbol for the rot and the bloat and the DEIification of gaming. And people have decided not only is the game a 3 out of 10, but there are external forces that make me want to give the game an even lower score, and those people are not wrong. The only people that are wrong are the people giving the game a 10. The people giving the game a 10, you are insane. This is not a 10 game. This isn't a 9 game. It's not an 8 game. It's not a 7 game. It's not a 6 game. Certainly not a 5 game. Not a 4 game. It's a 3. It's a 3. The game isn't a 2, which is what I gave Dragon Age the Veilguard. But it very well could be. Well, I would say that this had more going for it than Veilguard did. But Veilguard also didn't have the egregious monetization, which is disgusting. But I'm still going to stick with a 3. But anyone giving this game a 6 or a 7, I think that you are either somebody like Asmon who has been abused by their gaming company for too long and don't know what a good game is anymore, or You're somebody that is part of the culture war crusade. That you think it's more important to pretend to like this game because you want them to make more games and to these corporos to lose more money, for more gamers to be upset because you exist purely out of spite. And if gamers don't like this, then you do like it because you're a contrarian. And you're going to give it a 10 because you just want to balance the score because you want to see the game do well. Not because you like it, but because you don't like the people that don't like it.
In these extremes, I am the only person that's fair. Everybody else isn't fair. Everybody else is biased. It's only me.
So what I'll counter with is, who cares if it's fair? If people put their hard-earned money into watching a movie or playing a game, they're going to buy a movie, they're going to buy a game, they have every right to rate it whatever the hell they want. And there's not one douche tuber or streamer or Twitch supporter that has any right to tell you that you can't rate the game for what it actually is. That's my take on it. You can rate this game at whatever you want. If you like the game, honestly, if you give the game like an 8, for example, you're like, I really enjoyed it. Fine. I think you're wrong, but fine. But what you can't do is tell people that they can't rate it low because they're biased. Well, sure, everyone has a bias. But bias doesn't mean bad. I mean, we have a bias in America for deporting illegals because we recognize that crime is bad. Other people have a bias for, no, crime is good. We should keep the illegals. Now, we look at those people who rate crime and illegal immigration at a 10, and we say those people's opinions don't matter. Those people are insane. Well, it's the same thing with gaming. If there's a bad game, it's objectively bad, the marketing is atrocious, it gets condemned by the Japanese government, we can look at that and say, those people are insane who give it a high score. A 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10.
That knows the right score. And it's a 6, all right? The game is a 6. You think it's a 5? That's fine. You think it's a 7? That's fine. It's not an 8, and it's not, maybe it's a 4. It's not a 3.
It is a 3.
It's not a 3, and it's not an 8.
It is a 3.
Those opinions are invalid. Why is that? Because I decided that.
Dude, you gave Avowed a 7. Let me just repeat that one more time, because some people may have skipped a beat and gone, huh? Wait, what do you mean he gave Avowed a 7? Asmongold gave Avowed a 7. A 7. That's not out of 100. That's out of 10. As in 7 out of 10. I just want you to keep that in mind when he says that if you give it below a 4, that your opinion doesn't matter. This guy gave a 7 to Avowed. And there should not be a single day that he gets on to stream that people don't remind him of that, because it's funny. It's just funny. It's not something to actually take serious. But it's extremely funny. He gave it a 7. He's like, oh, I had fun playing this game. Yeah, okay, buddy. He gave Avowed a 7. I have to say that's more embarrassing than anything I've seen from it. I mean, people are like, oh, Asmon's bald, he's got a rat in his room. No, none of that matters. None of that matters. He gave Avowed a 7. And he's trying to criticize people for giving this game a 3. I'm just saying, come on.
And I'm right.
You're not.
And I'm not the thing is, This is me being humble. I find it to be very interesting where people are giving this game a 1 or a 10. Am I crazy for thinking that
The game isn't a 0. The game isn't a 1. If you gave it a 2, I would understand. I would get it. You're like the microtransactions, all that stuff. The writing is atrocious. The acting is bad. The progression is boring. You know, the enemy variety is non-existent. You know, the stealth mechanic is meaningless because if you're not the right level, you can't stealth kill people. There are many reasons why you could rate it a 2. I think it's a 3, personally. I think it's a 3. It's a 3 out of 10 game. For the game itself, which, I mean, we could go on and on about all the different failings and flops and things that are just completely indefensible as it relates to gaming. You could talk about the piss poor marketing. You could talk about the fact that they attempted to gaslight the entire world into thinking that Yasuke was historically accurate as a samurai. You could talk about the scandals they've been in, the Japanese government coming down to condemn him. The question you have to ask yourself is, how are you rating this game as a 6 or 7? Are you rating it like, I sat down and I kind of had fun a little bit, so it's a 6 or 7? Or are you looking at the whole picture? Me, I'm looking at the game, I'm looking at all of it, but the game itself is bad. And the marketing around it was bad. Like, Asmon, you have to understand, you're rating this game a 6. A 6 out of 10 game doesn't have the company pull the game off the market because the additional items for like the collector's edition or like a figure offended an entire country to the point where they had to pull it back and basically change it. Do you understand? Like, this is not a 6 out of 10 experience. This is not a 7 out of 10 experience. This is a 3 out of 10. From start to finish, this game is a 3 out of 10. Anyone who disagrees with that, you're going to have to justify it. And I don't think that Asmongold can. And again, I'm not coming down hard on him because I know this guy has been abused by Blizzard. You know, goddamn, they stole his breast milk. There is nothing about this game that is a 6 or a 7. There's nothing memorable about this. Do you think a 6 or a 7 game is one that you would be happy to go back to? Happy to play again? Happy to continue and talk about? A 6 or a 7 game is one that you'd be happy to talk about. Maybe you're not as exuberant as like an 8 or 9, but you'd still talk about it. You're like, oh, this is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Not great, but pretty damn good. No. At no point in this game have I ever heard Asmongold say, yeah, this game is standout. This game is exceptional. I really feel like this was value for money, which he didn't pay for the game. Ubisoft sent him a copy. Which, by the way, that gets me into the next part. When you hire a terrorist-supporting degenerate retard to promote your game, that's how you know your game is also not a 6 or a 7. When you have to dive this deep into the bowels of the internet. And when I say bowels of the internet, I'm literally talking about a giant toilet called Twitch. Where you pick this terrorist-supporting piece of garbage to promote your game. This guy that is low effort, low IQ, low value, a degenerate, bottom-feeding, terrorist-supporting pile of garbage. Like, genuinely one of the worst people I've ever seen. And you would choose him to promote your game. And to make it an ad. How embarrassing. In fact, I should drop it a score just for this. I should drop it 1 score, but I'm not. I'm not even going to drop it this 1 score for this atrocious business decision. No, I'm gonna remain resolute that this game was a 3.
a 1 or a 10 are probably both biased answers. And this is the problem. Like, I try to be as accurate as I can be. A 0 and a 10? Yeah. And let me see. What are the other one? What's the other game? Let's see. Assassin's Creed Shadows Review. Okay. Yeah, here we go. A 5 or... This is... Guys.
You're being dishonest. You're being dishonest in a way. So, well, okay. So he was talking about out of 10, and then he switched to a 1 to 5 meter. So it's not totally dishonest. I would change my score if it was 1 to 5. If it was 1 to 5, I'd give it a 2. So I'd be one of the people. I'd be one of the people over here, but apparently the majority of people have given it a 1. See, the problem with the 1 to 5 system is that, it doesn't give enough leverage. So technically a 1 in this scale could be a 1 or 2. A 2 would be like a 2 or 3. The middle would be like a 4 or 5. It's like, it doesn't give you exactly enough leeway to, to tell you where you want. 1 to 10 is great. He says 7, I say 3.
Guys, come on. Am I crazy for thinking that all the 5s and all the 1s don't count? It's obviously a 5 at best. No, guys, this is a score of 1 to 5. It's a 1 to 5. I don't agree with your take. You never played Assassin's Creed. You don't care about Japan. But for people like us, it's a 2.
Yeah. Thank you, chatter. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was a brilliant comment, and whatever he's about to say to cope with that fact, just know that we all hold you in our hearts. You are absolutely correct.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you want to come into it and you have that opinion, that's totally okay.
Yes. Yeah, and what's not okay, Asmon? Let me just get real for a second. I joke about you giving about a 7 because I think it's funny, but what it demonstrated is your rating of games is just how you feel in the moment when you're playing the game. You said that you want to be fair and objective, but the reality is that, well, Asmon, I don't know how to put this in a way you would understand. Imagine that you go to fast food every day and you get a Dr. Pepper. And every day you've got a Dr. Pepper. And then you go there one day and they only have Diet Dr. Pepper. And you drink it and you go, this is disgusting. This is gross. This is, what are you even feeding me? This is like poison. Disgusting. Why would you give me a Diet Dr. Pepper? Well, there's somebody else who hasn't tried regular Dr. Pepper. They try it. They say, well, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I like it. I like it's pretty good. This is a 7 out of 10. You're like, are you high? Like, Dr. Pepper tastes so much better than this. This is what you're encountering. People who have actually played the series, who are fans of the series, are relaying accurate, valid information that this game to them is a 1 out of 10. It does not reflect the core of Assassin's Creed that they've come to know and love and enjoy. It doesn't reflect the quality of what once was. You come in here as some, junk food consuming gamer, and I'm like, well, it's a 6 out of 10, and you shouldn't be able to say that it's a 1. We should discount them. No, I take their 1s very validly. The only ones that I disregard are the 5s and the 10s, because that's insane. The game is not a 5, the game is not a 10. By 5, I mean 5 stars. And by 10, I mean 10 out of 10. This game is a 3. If you're rating it 1 to 5, it's a 2. That person just accurately expressed his opinion, and you didn't even stop to take a moment to think about it. You already had your rebuttal geared up. And Asmon, I think you should have stopped to take a moment to really reflect on what that person's saying because of how absolutely goddamn true it is. The people giving Veilguard a 2, like myself, or people that really enjoyed Origins. Now, I do think there is a place for reviews for people that have never played any of these games. Sprouts or newcomers or people that have never done this, I do think that is valuable. But it is not, in my view, more valuable than somebody that played the game. I'm not talking about like a veteran or, gaming veteran. Oh, I played all of them. No, but just people who were part of the experience back then, who got to play it, who are experiencing this game now, and telling you that it's not a 6 or a 7. It's not a good game, because it's not a good game, and the marketing is shit, and the behind the scenes are terrible, and all of that plays a role. It used to be cool to be into Assassin's Creed. Do you remember those trailers? The trailers for the original Assassin's Creed where he was moving in and out of the stuff? The marketing back then was astonishingly good. Everyone was talking about it, how cool Assassin's Creed looked. No one's talking about Shadows other than to say this is embarrassing because it's a DEI slop game filled with gross microtransactions, and it's yet another abomination. Just like Veilguard was an abomination, these games are sad shells of their former self. And the fact that you haven't played any of these older games, it's not that your opinion is diminished or discounted, it's just that it's different. Because you don't have the frame of reference to go on to understand why it's so bad. When Angry Joe gives Veilguard a 3, and I give it a 2, and you go, well, it's a 7. That should tell you everything that you need to know. I mean, pretty clearly. Angry Joe and I don't agree on much. But we both rated it, a 2 or a 3. This game is a 3. It's slightly better than Veilguard, but not by much.
But what I'm saying is that, here's what my point is. With a lot of these video games, they get review bombed, and it's by people that haven't played the game, that don't know anything about the game, that play it for 0.1 hours on Steam, and then they immediately refund it and say it's bad. And I'm sorry, every review is valid, and I'm not saying that they have no right to review it, but don't expect me to take that seriously.
Why not? That actually, no, actually, I would say that that's perfectly valid. Imagine, I understand that sometimes review bombing is atrocious. I understand review bombing. But imagine that you're somebody from Japan, and you've seen how this game has disrespected your culture, it has disrespected your heritage, lied about, your historical figures, made a point of mocking your World War II monuments by putting it in a commercial game, not reaching out to anyone at these shrines to get their permission or to talk to them, just doing what you want, taking items that are not for commercial use in Japan and just putting it in your game. If you're a Japanese person and you feel super strongly in the negative about this game and you're like, I'm going to buy this game just to leave a review and I'm going to refund it, I totally value your opinion. I think that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that there are a couple of examples where review bombing is wrong. It's obviously a malicious attempt to hurt the project. But if you actually do something to warrant that, if you actually do something, whether deliberately or, I would say accidentally, but we know it's not an accident. If you do something continuously, repeatedly, to demonstrate that if you do something repeatedly and then people have an adverse reaction and then you continue to do that thing, I am very, very interested in people who would say to that, I'm going to leave a review. I'm going to leave a negative review. I don't even want to patronize you with my money. I think that's perfectly valid.
That's all. That's my only point. And I think the exact same thing with the 5s. The game is not a 5. If you think
No, Asmon. Now you're deflecting. Now I'm gonna get a little bit pissed. You didn't start this by saying that the 1s and the 10s are invalid. You said anything below a 4. So you tried to diminish people like myself because I gave it a 3. And I gave it a 3 because I know a hell of a lot more about this franchise than you do. I've actually played the other games. And not just played the other games, because you could pull up the other games and play them, but I played them in their time. I know what an Assassin's Creed game can be, and I know what this is not. And that's the difference. I don't begrudge you your lack of knowledge. I really don't. I actually think that it's entertaining and it's funny. I do. I think that it's humorous. I wouldn't want you to be super knowledgeable. If I wanted to watch some super sweat, play a bunch of, I'm the master of all games. Yeah, I could do that, but I don't. I like watching people like yourself discover games for the first time and maybe play a game series that you haven't before and become introduced to it. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's great. But when you come into a franchise that you've never played, when you play a game that's objectively, observably bad, from the marketing to the presentation to the just absolutely horrific launch of the game, every bit of this game is terrible. It's bad. It's below par, well below par. But I generously, magnanimously gave it a 3 out of 10. And then you come to me and tell me that there's something wrong with my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with my opinion. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly valid. If you want to give it a 1, I would even say that that's valid too. You played this game, you're like, this is absolute garbage. This is trash. For people of Assassin's Creed, I want to explain something. In the original Assassin's Creed, there was no leveling system for your assassination kills. You could just go behind a soldier and you could just kill them real quick and then blend in with the crowd. It was an actual fun stealth game. Apparently, they've decided, well, we want to do it with a leveling system and we want to make it so if the person's level is too high, you can't just stealth kill them. Okay. There is so much wrong with this game, Asmon, that I could go another hour talking about how bad it is. It's a 3 out of 10 game, and that's me being generous. I don't begrudge you for not having the same opinion. You can call it a 6 or 7, but it's not. And you just had a fan of the series tell you it's not. Pretty clearly. So, I don't know why you're molding over this. I don't know why you're getting bent out of shape. I think it's funny that you give games an obnoxiously high score like IGN does. But no, these games that you're reviewing are not 6 and 7s. These are 2s and 3s. You give them an inflated score because you don't know any better. And you've explained this in your own videos. You're like a caveman walking outside and seeing like a glow bug float around at night. And you're like, oh my God. Oh, and you look up at the sky. Oh, there's stars. Look how bright they are. And guess what? Then the sun comes out. And you're like, ah. But the reality is, Asmon, I think it's funny that you gave this game a high score. I'm just giving you a little bit of shit because this game is so bad. Oh my God, this game is bad. The Japanese government being like, this game is an abomination. Yeah, but there is nothing about this game that's a 6 or a 7. Nothing about this game. Holy shit.
think Assassin's Creed Shadows is a 5 out of 5, you're a retard out of retard. No, you're a fucking moron. No, it's not a fucking 5. It's not a 1 either.
He's talking about He's talking about 5 stars.
I am acknowledging not everybody has to have a 7 or a 6 like I do,
Yeah.
but it's not a 9.
No.
It's not a 10.
No. True.
And it's not a 1 either.
To some people it is. I mean, I agree with you on a 9 or 10. There's no way in hell it's a 9 or 10. To some people it's a 1. To some people it is. I was more generous. I gave it a 3. You know, Asmon, there are some people that would give it a 0. Not for any of the controversy. There are some people that I know that would give this game a 0, a goose egg, because of the microtransactions. The egregious, disgusting microtransactions. There are people that would give it a 0. I wouldn't discount their opinions, and I don't. I don't discount their opinions, even though I would say, okay, I understand it. I disagree. I think it's a 3. They would give it a 0 on principle. Now, do you think those people are invalid for giving it a 0? Again, what if there are people in Japan? They go, this game is an offense to my culture. The game itself isn't even good, which is even more insulting. If you're going to make fun of somebody, don't fail as spectacularly as this game has. But if somebody from Japan gave it a 1 for the game not being good and then the cultural insult, would you take that as valid? I think you should. My point here is that there are people that can give this game a 1 that mean it, that should be taken seriously. And what this should tell you is that the vast majority of people playing the game or talking about the game or who have heard the game really want to let their voice be heard, that they don't like this. And the thing is, unlike people on the left, and I'm not saying that everyone who upvotes this game or downvotes this game is right-wing, but when people on the left brigade and downvote stuff, they do so for reasons that are completely and totally invalid. They're fabricated, they're made up, they're invented. It's a mechanism of power and control. It's basically gamers saying this game is atrocious. Don't buy this game. Stay away from it. No one's being harassed. It's just simply a way of letting other people know to stay away from it. Whereas on the other hand, some of these review bombs are, this is racist and toxic and blah, blah. I mean, just a complete and total meltdown. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to react to the entire video, but if you want to go watch it yourself, I definitely recommend it. Asmon's malding is perfectly fine to mauld. He's perfectly within his right to mauld. But I'm perfectly within my right to make this counter video saying that the game is a 3. And I would respect people if they gave it a 1. But there's no way in hell that it's 5 stars or it's a 10 out of 10. No way. No shot, no chance. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you next time.